happy Friday. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Therapeutic Wisdom from the AKASH. Say hello if you're hopping on. Say hello if you're watching the replay. You can type hashtag replay. My name is Laura Mazzotta. I'm an Akashic therapist, which means I've been a therapist for almost 20 years. I am also an Akashic healer and teacher, and I assist people with accessing their absolutely deepest levels of healing, the most profound healing in the most efficient way possible that lasts enduringly. I actually just started a show on my Facebook page called Emerge Healing and Wellness, and the show is going to be called Heal Profoundly and Enduringly, and we just did our first episode last Saturday, and then it's going to begin on Mondays starting on September 13th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's something that you can also access for additional healing tips. I'm going to be bringing on a lot of different people to be able to offer you their perspective on what assists you with healing the most profoundly and enduringly, so we can create a beautiful toolbox here. This is not just for you guys, it's also for me, because I love being able to network and meet more practitioners who are really passionate about bringing this kind of healing information to the world. So I'm excited to build my toolbox. I'm excited for you to build yours, so you can join me over there on Emerge Healing and Wellness starting on September 13th, which is really exciting. The other really exciting thing is that I just launched my podcast, my first podcast. I'm so excited. It's called the Akashic Musings Podcast. And right now you can access it on my website as we work to get on the different platforms. But I'm just so excited that it's out there in the world and this energy is being shared. And we have another platform to be able to bring people I guess in lots of different modalities are helpful to be able to reach people, right? Because you never know where people are looking for and accessing their information to be able to help themselves move forward. So, hi Danielle, happy Friday. So good to see you. I hope you're doing well today. So, and I'm also glad to know that the comments are working. So thank you so much for saying hello, so that I don't have to keep that out for me. So for those of you who are new to Cosmic TV, welcome. This is your spiritual and metaphysical Netflix. You can find Cosmic TV here, of course, also on the App Store and on cosmictelevision.com, where you'll find other shows like this. You will also find films from conscious filmmakers, courses, and pretty much any resources that you would want to access for your spiritual and metaphysical journey. It's a beautiful, beautiful community here, and I'm so grateful that you've shown up here today and said hello. Definitely let us know where you're tuning in from so that we can just get an even greater feel for our family and where we're collaborating from, because we are all in this together, right? So anyway, without further ado, let's jump into our topic for today. Today we're going to be talking about how to manage anxiety step by step. So how many of you on a scale of 1 to 10 are experiencing anxiety? So you're going to say 10 is the highest level of anxiety, 1 is the lowest. I would love to know where you currently identify and what you're currently doing to assist yourself with managing your anxiety. Anxiety is something that I've dealt with my whole life. It's something that I've experienced in very mild form and in very severe form. So I've also been able to help countless numbers of people with anxiety over the course of my 20-year career as a therapist. So not only do I have traditional psychotherapeutic techniques, but I also have the divine wisdom that's come forward from the universe and from the Akashic Records to assist me with allowing people to not just band-aid approach their anxiety, which I find is most of the time what people are doing. I find that the band-aid approach, the temporary approach, is something that makes people feel good in the moment. 7.75. Thank you for your specificity, Cassidy. You are fabulous. And I think that it's really important for us to identify that we need to decide and be motivated to heal our anxiety long term, okay? Because most of the time when people are expressing anxiety or presenting with anxiety, they're coming up with this not savior complex, but a need to be saved, a desperation to be saved. Oh my gosh, I just need something right now. I need to feel better. I just want to feel better. And so they'll take whatever's handed to them. And this has happened to me many times, and not with my anxiety in particular. It has happened with anxiety, but it's mostly happened with my physical health, where I'll get to a certain point with my physical health and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm just like so desperate to have somebody help me with this. Like I just need to get rid of it. right? And then I will go to a doctor or I'll go to a practitioner or a healer. And then unfortunately, when we go at it from that perspective, then we're latching on to whatever that person is giving us. And it's like, yes, 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 I'm so desperate for anything. I'll take whatever you give me. Rather than having that discernment to be able to say, okay, let me meditate on this. Let me sit with this. Let me engage this idea with my energy for a period of time and be able to identify, okay, how does this sit with me? How does this settle with me? Okay. So I'm so happy to see you too, Ashley. I love you. Happy Friday. How are you and your fam doing, honey? Hi, Carrie. So good to see you. So I think it's really important for us to be conscious of when we're in that desperate space of, I need something right now in this moment. I have so many clients over the years who they will miss their sessions over and over and over again, right? They will not show up, or they'll forget their sessions. And then they contact me in between and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm in crisis. I need help right now. Right? And I get that. I understand where that's coming from. But unfortunately, that's not going to give you long-term gain. Okay? It's going to give you a Band-Aid. It's going to make you feel better in the moment. But honestly, it does you a disservice. It does you a disservice to reach out in desperation, get that Band-Aid approach, get that temporary fix. But then how are you integrating this and implementing this long-term? Because it's almost like in that moment you have the anxiety and you just want to take a Xanax, or you just want to like smoke a joint or have a drink or whatever it is that people do to help themselves calm down so that they can feel like, oh, okay, right? So that's number one, is to really shift out of that mentality, because the number one thing you need to remember in that moment is, I know confidently that I am not going to experience this level of anxiety every single second of every single day for the rest of my life. It's just not realistic. You're going to sleep. You're going to have moments that are happy and joyful. You're going to have moments where you're resting and chilling. You're not constantly going to be at a 7.75 or higher than that or lower than that, depending on where you are in the anxiety scale. Okay? So when you start any kind of healing protocol, it's important to identify, where are you on that scale? Because then you can accurately assess, once you've done whatever intervention or whatever healing technique that you've chosen, you can clearly and accurately assess whether or not it's doing anything. Because that's the other piece. When you go into this with this desperate feeling of, oh my gosh, I just need to feel better right now. Just give me whatever you can give me right now. Right? Number one, yeah, it may work in the moment just because you're happy that somebody came through or something came through to save you in the moment, rather than really assessing whether this is something that's going to give you long-term change. Okay? So, say hello if you guys are here. I know we have about 11 people watching right now, and I want to say hi to you guys. I want to see what's coming up for you around anxiety so that I can help you through it. All right, so how to manage it step by step, right? So first we talked about perspective. We talked about, being really conscious of coming from that desperate space and being really conscious of the tools that are coming forward. Hi, Sherry, good to see you. Thanks for saying hello. Being really conscious of the tools that come forward and whether or not they actually create change for us. Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much for saying hi. Happy Friday. Because that's the other piece. When we get desperate and we just take these tools and techniques on and they make us feel better right there in the moment, then we're not really stopping and assessing, okay, how much did this help me? Like, did it really help me? And for how long does this really help me? Like, if I'm assessing myself the next day too, like, how does this make me feel? Ashley says, oh man, the truth hurts. I'm like that. Oh, I don't need long-term therapy. For my anxiety, just gets a quick fix. Yep, exactly. That's what I did for years too, Ashley. And to be honest with you, I think this happens a lot. I know this happens a lot in the therapy world. It happens a lot in the mental health world, where people go to weekly therapy and it really becomes this, it's like, oh good, I'm going to go get my fix from this person this week so that I can get through my week, rather than going into it with an intention of, I'm really eager to gather tools that I then build on each other so that I can create a protocol and a little happy little binder or notebook of things I can access on my own so that I'm not constantly reaching out in crisis to somebody. I tell my clients now, I'm not available for crises. I'm not available for emergencies, because it disempowers the client. It disempowers, you know, it's like if you need to go to the ER, go to the ER. If you need to call 911, call 911, right? But it's you have the tools. Use 3 tools. That's my rule for my clients. Use at least 3 tools before you reach out for save me, help me. Because by the time you've used those 3 tools, you're not in desperate mode anymore. Okay, you're not in desperate mode anymore. Now you're in a mode where you're saying, okay, I've taken a little bit of the edge off, and I'm now in a space where I can operate with a little bit more discernment as to what you're offering me to determine whether or not it works with my life and what's going on with me. Danielle, been allowing chaos today, allowing that it keeps passing and changing flavor and nothing is actually wrong. Trusting the bigger picture while under a weighted blanket. I'm proud of you for being under a weighted blanket. That's exactly what we need to do, right? We need to offer ourselves that space of safety, that opportunity to feel safe and held and comforted, right? And realizing that anxiety, all of our emotions, friends, are simply energy, emotion, energy and motion. They are flowing through our field. And the average human has 21 mood changes per day. That's average, okay? That's not somebody who has been clinically diagnosed with anything, okay? And so when you allow it to move through your field as it's meant to, then it's just energy flowing. And you have that confident knowing that it will pass through and that it's not going to get stuck for the rest of your life. So you may want to write on your mirror or on the background of your phone, or on reminders that go off on your phone throughout the day, saying, I know that I am safe and protected. I know that this is not going to be my reality every single second of every single day for the rest of my life. Like, let's be realistic. Anxiety loves doom and gloom. It loves the spiral. Why? Because it's an egoic construct. Okay, anxiety is entirely within our ego. And you can say, okay, well, anxiety was very primal for us. It's very primitive. This has existed, obviously, in our ancestors when they were really needing anxiety's assistance to be able to escape a bear, to be able to survive, okay? But there's a difference between fear and anxiety. And that fear is very different than anticipating that something's going to go wrong, anticipating that you're not going to get better, anticipating that nothing's going to come and pull you out of this. Hi, Nia. How are you, honey? I'm so glad you're here. So anxiety is anticipatory. Fear is in the moment, only necessary when we are at a place where we need to activate that system, our limbic system, so that we can respond appropriately in case we're in danger. So that's why what Danielle's doing right now with that weighted blanket is crucial, because what you're doing is you're saying to your nervous system, it's okay, you're safe. Whereas instead, if we go into freak out mode, then it becomes anxiety. The fear becomes anxiety, because now we've created an interpretation, we've created a distortion, we've created a story around it in our heads. Don't put a story to your anxiety, right? Don't give it meaning. Just allow it to pass through. All right, so how do we manage anxiety step by step? See, I could talk about this all day because I'm so passionate about sharing this kind of information with people, because I've seen so many lovely, wonderful, heart-centered, amazing human beings be stuck and paralyzed by their anxiety and so frustrated and so defeated because they're really trying hard. Like, they're really working hard to make themselves feel better, and they keep hitting a wall and they're spinning their wheels and they're not moving forward. And it's so hard to watch, right? It's so hard because I love these people. And I mean, I love everyone. We're all here together, right? The whole unity mindset and universal love. You know, we want people to be at their best, because then our planet is at its best, okay? So the most important first step when you're dealing with anxiety that is chronic, and when I say chronic, I mean consistent for a period of time. You know, some people identify chronic, technically from a clinical perspective, chronic is 2 years or more for adults, 1 year or more for adolescents, okay? But my personal opinion is if you are experiencing something like anxiety this consistently for a good few weeks plus, this is something that you need to look a little bit further into, okay? So step one is entirely physiological, okay? Step one with managing your anxiety. When was the last time you had blood work done? Are you drinking enough fluids? Are you nourishing your body with enough nutrients? Are you, very, very importantly, managing your blood sugar? Which means eating protein, fat, and fiber every single time you're eating. Are you providing your body with what it needs to run at the most efficient and effective level possible? Because if your body is operating in a mode of deprivation, you're going to feel an agitation internally that you might not consciously recognize, but it may come out as anxiety. It's a very, very common source of anxiety. People that I have known for years that I've been working with, I tell them, I'm like, babe, you need to go get your immune system checked. You need to go get your gut checked. You need to go get, really making sure that there isn't a medical or physiological underpinning to what's going on. Okay, exactly, Carrie. When my electrolytes and iron are low, my anxiety goes through the roof. It helped tremendously to figure that out, enormously. Hormones are a huge one. Hormones are a huge one, and I highly recommend you don't just go to a medical doctor to ask these questions. Go to a naturopath or a functional medicine doctor, because they're the ones who are going to really be able to identify whether you're operating at a functional level, okay? Because everybody's level is different. Our physiology is different. Our chemical composition is different. We're interacting with our environment very differently depending on the person, okay? So it's very important for you to be that in tune like Carrie is with your physiological body, so that you understand, okay, when my B12 is low, this is how I feel. When my iron is low, this is how I feel. When my electrolytes are low, this is how I feel. Okay, so it could be something that simple. It doesn't mean that there's this horrible, daunting, terrible medical problem going on with you. It can be the tiniest little tweak where you just take a couple supplements, or you cook in an iron skillet a couple times a day, and there you go. You're in a better place. So don't ignore that, because the fact is, yes, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Yes, we are energetic beings, but we also do exist within a human body, and it's going to impact our emotions. It's going to impact how we respond to the things that we are introducing to our field, whether that's food, water, experiences, relationships. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in a second. So step one, get your blood work done. And what's so cool about this is you get your blood work done, identify where you are with your electrolytes, with other values, okay? And you can start to manage those from the root up. But then what's really cool is once you start your supplements, or you start your new regimen of eating, or whatever it is you're doing for yourself, you then start to notice the shifts within yourself, and then you're going to be able to have this gauge, so that when you start having anxiety again, you can be like, okay, that just dropped down. I noticed this shift. That didn't happen before, so I'm going to increase this a little bit again. You don't necessarily have to then go get blood work drawn all the time to be able to check in with that. Does that make sense? Okay. And then the only other thing physiologically that's very, very, very critical is sleep. How's your sleep? Now, a lot of people say, well, I'm too anxious to sleep, right? My sleep was good, but my anxiety is getting in the way, and that can happen. Are you helping yourself? Are you taking technology and any kind of EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, out of your bedroom? Are you watching screens at night within an hour before bed? Are you eating rich meals before bed, or sugar, high sugar content before bed, within a couple hours before bed? Another one is hydration. That's really important before bed. So it's, are you making the decisions that assist you with winding down? What are the things that help you wind down? Your body can wind down through taking a bath. Your body can wind down through meditation, through tapping, through journaling. Okay. Start to, sometimes people have a nighttime yoga practice that's excellent for calming your system and really opening up your field to be able to even receive from the universe while you're sleeping. Nia says, I'm obsessed with listening to my body. Good. My doctor recommends but follows my lead. Brilliant. Everybody needs doctors like that. I get blood work as often as I need to monitor my numbers. I've been dealing with anxiety to my health and weather for 7 years, and I sleep about 4 good hours a night. Okay. Yeah, and some people need less sleep. But honestly, if you are in a position where you're not sleeping well, and it's because of your anxiety, you need to first change your nighttime routine and maybe add some exercise in if you haven't done that already, or just, I should say, body movement. You don't have to get daunted, feel like it's daunting to start an exercise routine, but some kind of movement of your physical body intentionally. But it is not bad for you. And of course, consult your medical doctors anytime that you want confirmation on something like this. I'm not going to pretend to be licensed in that area, but it's perfectly okay to take melatonin, to take CBD, to take Benadryl temporarily, because sometimes we just need a reset. Sometimes our bodies and our minds just need that reset. We get that good night of sleep, and then it's like, okay, now I'm going to get myself back on a regimen. Okay, so the really important piece here, which to be honest with you is my main point for today, and I'm going to be talking about a couple other steps, but is my main point for today is that you honestly, if you're having consistent anxiety, this is a bit of a bold truth here, a little bit of a truth bomb. You need to put on your big girl or big boy pants or big person pants. You need to parent yourself better than you are. And I know that might be hard to hear, but honestly, like, you have control over this. You don't feel like you have control over this. And I know it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Trust me, I've been there. Trust me, I have experienced the same thoughts and the same hesitation and the same roadblocks. But what I'm telling you is that chronic anxiety is something that's really waking you up to being the boss of yourself. If your kid were having the same thing, what kind of measures would you take to assist them with going through this? Or if you don't have children, if your pets or a loved one were going through this, what are the steps that you would take to guide them, to assist them with moving through this? You are the creator of your reality, 110%. So yes, there's a lesson in the anxiety, but it's also a huge call for you to step up and take control. So that's what I'll hear all the time, like, oh, the nighttime routines don't work for me. Okay, well, did you stick with it? And how consistently did you do it? And did you do it lovingly, or did you do it with resentment and out of obligation? Right? Because our intention behind these things is also very important in terms of how long lasting this is going to be. Thanks, Anita. I love you, honey. Good to see you. Okay. So that's the bold truth here. And I face this myself, friends. I face this myself with taking care of my physical body, right? And doing what felt good. For me, it was like, oh, I really just want to have like a giant meal and eat whatever the hell I want. And don't get me wrong, I still desire that, but I'm making choices that support my longevity, my vitality long term. And I had to grow up a little bit around that. I really did. I had to grow up a little bit around that. And that, me stepping into my personal authority in that area or in any area of your self-management is going to be your biggest game changer, because you always have access to resources. You have access to infinite resources to be able to heal and help yourself. Look at this world. It's very intelligent. It's full of so much expertise. You can find the resources to assist you. So instead of getting into freak out mode and shutdown mode and holy crap, I don't know what to do with myself mode, go into creative mode instead. Go into curious mode. Oh, this is interesting. This is showing up again in this scenario. Intriguing. Okay, let me explore this. So this is the next step, right? You've addressed the medical piece, the physiological piece, which has to do with sleep and eating and nourishment and all of that. getting your blood work drawn, getting a real understanding of your body in that way. And then it's also understanding the relationship with your anxiety. Interesting. What makes you come up right now in this moment at this time? What makes you present in this way to me? Right? Ask it. Right, exactly, Carrie. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. That is what, I can't even tell you the number of times that I've had a tantrum and been like, I don't want to. Or literally actually cried because I'm like, but I want to eat that and I can't. You know, I mean, I'm sorry, but like we all have an inner child. We all have that part of ourselves that gives us so much goodness. It gives us so much play and energy and excitement and passion and fun. But it also holds our wounds, you know? Nia says, it doesn't help I'm a thinker, but I'm guilty of being inconsistent. 100%. 100%. That's what's interfering with everything that you desire to come to you, is that lack of consistency. And when you do not choose to make yourself a priority in this area or any other, you are not valuing yourself enough. And you don't have to wait until you value yourself enough to do it. Just start doing it. And you will start to value yourself more. Just start taking the action. Write down a schedule for yourself if you need to. Set reminders if you need to. Have an accountability partner. Okay? And you get to choose whether or not you're a thinker, Nia. You don't have to be stuck in, oh, well, my mind takes me away to all these places. Whose doesn't? We're human beings. Some of us are better at managing it than others because we have learned how. So are you open to learning how is the question. Are you open to learning about what are these messages coming forward from my body? What are they telling me? What is the lesson from this? Getting curious about that, getting creative about how you're going to find resources and knowledge and learning and understanding about what is presenting in your field. Okay? So that's the second step. The second step is getting curious about this, having a conversation with your anxiety, understanding the lesson that's coming forward. What is the purpose you're currently serving? Because it's serving a purpose. If it exists in your field, it's serving a purpose. It wouldn't be there if it were not serving a purpose. Okay? So appreciate the purpose. Thank it for being there. Honor it because it's doing something for you or it wouldn't exist. And then you get to let it go and release it because you get to look for creative ways to be able to fulfill that need in yourself elsewhere. Okay? But very importantly, I'm going to drive this home again. Do not wait until you're feeling it to start taking action. Just start taking action because you'll never get there because you'll get lost in the human sauce. You'll get lost in the mind. You'll get lost in the thinking. Step 3, sinking into your heart space. Sinking into your spiritual self, which is kind of up here, but it's also down here. Right? Getting that feedback because you know who you are at the core. You are not the anxiety. You are not the triggers. You are not all of these things that are activating discomfort within you. You are that core unwavering soul. So connecting to that. Now, some people have trouble doing this if they're anxious. So you've done the physiological piece, you've asked the anxiety for the lesson, but you're still reeling. This is where some tools can be helpful. This is where you can bring in tapping. This is my favorite one. Tapping's my favorite one. Moving your physical body, doing some journaling work if you'd like, just to continue releasing some of that anxiety, bringing forward some of the deeper components here that need to be released and understood before they're able to move on, and then allowing them to move through your field. Okay? So you might need to do an exercise like that, like tapping, like journaling, or something physical to release, because anxiety becomes a very physical emotion. It is a very physical emotion, just like anger. So using our physical bodies to be able to engage with it can be very productive. At which point, after you've thrown one of these things in, you can sink back into that heart space, into that soul version of you, and connect. And remember that you at the core are very, very unwavering. And you have all the answers, and you have them with clarity, and you have confidence around them and taking action toward them. Okay? Because treating symptoms is very, very different from healing that core of anxiety. And when you connect with your soul, so many possibilities open up. This is when you get to explore whether the actual true root cause of this exists in your ancestry, whether it exists in a past life of yours, something that was never fully resolved. Okay? If you'll notice, I haven't talked to you about fixing this kind of thing in relationships with other people because it all comes from you. It all comes from within. Okay? And your relationships with other people and your engagements with them going to be completely and entirely different once you do this work yourself. Okay? So what does it look like when we've, one, physiologically taken care of things, two, talked to the anxiety and gathered the symbolic lesson that's coming forward around this, three, done some of that journaling or releasing work, and four, dove into your soul, your heart space, that core version of you, to open up the possibilities for really understanding the root cause, and healing it at the root, understanding the context of where you are right now and the anxiety you're experiencing right now, understanding that it doesn't come from one person or one situation. There's a litany of things that have led to this. To forgive yourself and forgive other people along the way that have impacted your journey so that you're not feeling anything other than love for yourself, other people, and the environment as you heal this, so that the process itself doesn't feel laborious and like you're pulling teeth and obligated to get this done. Okay? And while you're doing all of this work, you're still doing the nervous system soothing that Danielle was talking about earlier, whether you're using a weighted blanket, whether you're tapping, whether you're placing your hands on your heart and reminding yourself that you're safe, creating a space in your home that feels really safe, allowing yourself to be with somebody that feels really safe, because your nervous system is not going to be as open to change and shifting when you're not grounded and rooted in safety. So that's a thread that follows through this entire thing, through all of these steps. Okay? And then once you get to the spot where you've sunken into your soul and all these opportunities have opened up and you've healed this, then what you're going to do is you're going to nurture your human. You're going to nourish. You're going back to step one here, right? It's this cycle where you're then nourishing your body. You're nourishing with fluids, with rest, with whatever it is your body is requesting at the time for extra soothing. Okay? But I can promise you, if you're experiencing anxiety, it's in your ego. And you can say, well, but sometimes I feel the physical symptoms first. That happens a lot. That happens for me when I get anxiety. It comes up physically first, and then I'll get a thought, or then I'll get the emotion that I become aware of. But that's only because it's been around for so long. It's only because it has been ingrained and wired into my nervous system and is then housed within my physical body. It just means that it's gone on for longer. Okay? So what questions do you guys have? Do you have anything coming up that I can answer for you before I log off here today? And I know I told you guys about the podcast, which I'm so excited about. That comment is pinned, so you guys can check that out. There's also two other really exciting things that I wanted to share with you. One is that my Rise Akashic Records training program, I just put it on sale this morning. I only do this once a year, and I only do it when the Akashic Records dictate and tell me to. And the last few days, they have been bringing this through. And then when I woke up today, they were like, get it done, bring it on. So this only happens once a year. So jump in. I used to give a lot more frequent discounts on this program, but I'm telling you, it is worth every single penny. And it is truly life-changing. I have not met anyone who has said it is not so life-changing to be able to empower yourself by learning these skills yourself, to empower yourself by talk about every layer of healing. That's what we do in this program. And the level of support and love and family that exists with this group, particularly this group right now, just keeps getting stronger and stronger, is literally going to support you long term going forward. Okay, so I really encourage you to, if your soul's being called to that, to read about it at the very least, because there's a reason that your soul is interested. And there's multiple payment plans available, so you can reach out to me if you have any questions on that. And the second way right now to work with me is I have a mental health mastermind called Climb. And that's just one I want you to send me a private message for. This is basically going to be taking you to your most desired or necessary mental health goal quickly, efficiently, effectively, that will last. And I can guarantee you that you are going to, by the end of this 3-month mastermind program, be able to reach your mental health goals with flying colors. So that's something that is going to be very, very specific. And I want you to reach out to me if you are interested in that, because I'm going to be very selective about who I bring into that program. There's only space for 5 people. Okay. And that's currently on early bird for $3,333. And of course, there's going to be payment plans available. I'm always happy to offer that so it's more accessible for you. But this is for people, both of these programs are for people who are seriously motivated, who are ready to dive in and they're done with the patterns. I'm not doing this anymore. I can't deal. And I'm ready to implement and really put my nose to the grindstone and move forward in a compassionate, loving way, but you're motivated. Okay? So let me know if you have any questions about that. And then, of course, Cassidy shared the link to the Embrace Retreat, which there's a virtual and an in-person available. This is the program that I'm really most excited about right now, because I mean, even just for myself, being able to be in person with my clients, the energy is just more palpable, and the opportunity to go even more deeply is much more significant when you have 4 continuous days together in person. So I would love to welcome you and speak to you personally if you have questions about which one of these programs could be a great fit for you and which one you think is most aligned, because they're investments. And I want to make sure that you're investing in yourself in a way that feels really empowering and aligned and like really guaranteed for you to be able to carry this going forward. Okay, so I'm happy to jump onto a 10-minute phone call with you and be able to advise what fits the best. Nia says, currently I feel disconnected to what I'm passionate about and what I know is my calling. I've been spiritually drained. So there's nothing accurate about being spiritually drained, because our spirit is never drained. Our spirit has infinite access to energy. Our spirit is always regenerating. We have infinite access to energy through our spirit. So what that tells me is that, and you know what, Nia, I know you, and I know that you're not disconnected to your passion. I think that you are scared with your passion. And I know that your calling, you know what your calling is. You know, you're an advocate. You're an advocate in so many ways. And it's important for you to not say that you're spiritually drained, but to say that you have not. What that tells me is that you need to connect to spirit more. You need to tap into the flow more. You need to allow it to flow through you more than you're already doing, because feeling drained is a human experience. Feeling drained means that you're giving too much of yourself away. Exactly. You're in overdrive with wanting to help people, 100%. Stop making it about everyone else. Stop making it about the actions that you're taking. You need to focus on yourself. You're not serving from your overflow. You're serving from your cup, and you need to be serving from your overflow. Okay? So it's about you tapping into that flow and allowing it to just completely envelop you. Giving yourself concentrated time to do that. When I was talking about stepping up, putting on your big girl pants and being your own parent, it's self-sabotage for you to not make a decision to say, I am going to connect to spirit for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, 1 minute a day, an hour a day. You need to find the amount or the opportunity that is the most fulfilling and productive for you. Okay, you're the boss of your own reality. So start to take on that mentality and realize that all it takes is connecting with one person, is taking one step forward towards your passion, towards what you desire, toward greater connection. Good, you do. That might mean you need more. And trust me, it sucks, Nia. Yeah, because I spend the vast majority of my day taking care of me and doing things for myself, whether it's journaling, whether it's things for my physical body, whether it's meditation, whether it's going to the Akashic Records, tapping, taking a bath, taking a walk, going into nature. I spend most of my time taking care of me. And then guess what happens? New things arrive, and I learn that I need more time. Because as we raise our vibration higher and higher, we're being called to raise it even higher than that, right? You don't want to just settle with being decent or okay. You want phenomenal. Good. I want you to want phenomenal. So that means connect more, connect more, connect more. And I say all the time, I'm like, damn it, the universe really, really wants more time. I need to take more time for myself. This is so annoying. That's usually my first response. This is so annoying. This is so inconvenient. Right? But when we accept to be servants, to be in service of the universe, to be of service to our soul's purpose, and to follow that path, we allow it to guide us. We don't say no to the universe. Okay, I'm off my soapbox now. Baths are where I get my quiet time as I listen to frequency. Good girl. So proud of you. All right, friends. Thank you for being here with me. I love you all. I'm so grateful that we got this time together today. Check out my podcast episode. I'm so excited. Reach out to me if you want that free 10-minute phone call so that we can identify what is the next best step for you to be able to kick this. Okay? Once and for all, kick it. And I can help you not only with holding you safely and compassionately in a space of love and appreciation for yourself while you're doing this work so that you can appreciate the process and allow it to be fun and not miserable and daunting. And I will hold you accountable and give you a little kick in the butt because that's what we need when we have chronic issues going on. We need a combination of love and compassion and safety and a swift kick in the butt. So reach out and I'll do both. All right, friends, I love you. I'll see you next Friday, 2:15 Eastern Time, 11:15 a.m. Pacific. Have a beautiful week. Bye.